Good day and welcome to your favorite sport program on TV, Plot Sport. We know it's the new year and a lot of things are looking forward to in the new year. On today, we'll be focusing on top Nigerian athletes to watch out for in 2023. Athletics has the headline news in sport in 2022, where Tobi Amusin Esebume dominated headlines. And we are looking at the possibility of whether that can repeat itself. So I'll be talking with Deji, the country manager of Making of Champions, on top Nigerian athletes to watch out for in 2023. Deji, good day. It's good to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, Deji, as expert in athletics in the country, first of all, let me say congratulations to you for being the country manager, but a new appointed country manager for Making of Champions. We all know Making of Champions is a top platform when it comes to athletics in the country, and they've been making so many strides, and so when you come making so many strides in the areas of athletics. So for you to be the country manager, that's a appointment, and I'm sure that we'll continue seeing many of the waves of Making of Champion, DG.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
Yes, tell us, Nigerian athletes to watch out for in 2023.
Well, it's a long list. Where to start from? Tobi Amusin delighted the whole of Nigerians in 2022 with blistering performances from the African Championships to the Commonwealth Games to the World Championships, which made up well known in the climbs of not just Nigerian athletics, the entire, not just sport alone, the Nigerian wave, and it kind of made people pay attention to the sport. And going into the Commonwealth Games, we basically relived those beautiful years from the Atlanta 96 Games to the Sydney 2000 Games, where Nigerian track and field stars shone like a million stars. We saw the likes of Rosemary Chukuma, the likes of Grace Uwokocha, the likes of Tobi Amusin, all of these girls blazing the trail, ensuring that Nigeria gets back to the pedestal of global athletics. And 2023 certainly promises to be better. We've got the African Juniors coming up. We've got the African Games coming up in Ghana later on. Don't forget the World Championships in Hungary, in Budapest, Hungary. So a whole lot to look forward to this year. But I had a whole of that. A lot of Nigerian athletes are in the collegiate system in the United States, with the likes of Blessing Okagbare, blazed the trail from 2008 when she went to University of Texas El Paso, went on to have a beautiful athletics career for herself. Let's not also forget Divine Oduduro, then more recently Tobi Amusin. So most of them started their indoor season last weekend. They will continue their indoor season up until March before they build up towards the outdoor season. So so many things to look forward to with regards to Nigerian athletes this year, and I can tell you for a fact that it's going to be better than 2023.
Okay, now it's obvious that it's going to be an interesting year in athletics in 2023. But let's come closer look at the season commence in the collegiate sport, where we know that Nigerian athletes are doing so well. From the University of Texas and also other notable universities. What can you say about Nigerian athletes doing so well? We know that we have Favor Ashi and the rest of them doing so well for themselves. But can you give us an analysis? Does that indicate that the future is going to be bright when it comes to international meet and championship?
Okay, I think it's all... it's good to note the fact that there's a trend that is now going on with regards to Nigerian athletes, which is getting scholarships to the United States. In terms of developmental athletics, maybe aside Jamaica with their secondary school champs, but that is not spread over a period of time. It's just a one-off thing. America certainly stands tall with regards to developmental athletics. And I mentioned Blessing Okagbare in my intro earlier on, where you get the feeling that, the likes of Musa Ekudike had gone to the United States in the 80s, but it became a trend with Blessing Okagbare in 2008. And in the last 3 to 4 years, we've seen so many Nigerian athletes go over to the NCAA system, sign for Division 1 schools, Division 2 schools, competing at that top level. And they're getting the best of nutrition, the best of training, the best of education. Now, to the athletes themselves, what we saw at the Commonwealth Games is just the start. That I can tell you for a fact. The stats in the sense that Most of these athletes were mostly in their freshman year or in their sophomore year. But growing into this season, you can guarantee that they will break more records. So I give you a favor, Ashi, for example. He made his debut last year in the University of Tennessee, where in the indoor season he ran a PB of 6.51 seconds, and that was the first time he was running indoors. So you can almost guarantee that this year he's going to run something special. In fact, in his first race last week Saturday, he ran a 6.57. That's the second fastest, third fastest NCAA time this year. Well, it's still the first meet, but you can guarantee that the progression will be there. Alaba Akitola also running for Alabama University. That is Gosin Brume, the younger brother of Esi Brume, running for Louisiana State University. You look at the likes of Ezine, she's also in the mix. So there are lots of athletes that we have to look forward to. But majorly, you have to look at likes of people, Philip, for Ashe, Rosemary Chukuma also ran the fastest time over the 60 meters last weekend, the 7.11. That currently sees that joint sixth in Africa in terms of the world ranking. So, so many things to look forward to with regards to Nigerian athletes in the NCAA. But more importantly, the fact that they're getting the best of development, they're getting the best of training, they're getting the best of nutrition. They don't have to worry about logistics. They don't have to worry about competition. You can guarantee that between now and, say, the national trials in June or July, these guys will run probably between, say, 20 or 25 races, and that puts them in shape ahead of the World Championships.
Focus on Nigeria. Does that really mean that we'll continue the dominance for athletics in the World Championship, perhaps in major international competition coming, that we are going to dominate the rest of all other African nations? Or in comparison to our preparation and our exploit, even as the season begins, that other African countries we need to contend with, or those other African countries that has other top athletes, or is going to be a dominating factor for Nigerians as the championship and other international competitive commence? Are we going to hold the ace?
Well, with regards to Africa, maybe yes. But let's also forget. Let's not forget that this is just we probably dominate around the sprint event. Athletics or track and field cuts across both sprint, middle distance, and long distance. And we know for the middle distance and long distance, the Ethiopians, the Kenyans, the Ugandans all sway there. So that also covers some medal prospects. So let's put that in perspective. But with regards to dominating at the global level, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We are on the right trajectory. What we saw with Toby and we saw last season took about 5 to 6 years of training, preparation, as well as getting to the top level. And all of this will not just come at once. So you wouldn't expect a favor of Philly to go to the World Championships and be a medal contender. Well, maybe she'll get to the finals, considering the fact that she's been dominating our events in the 200 meters for the last 2 years. If Obashi will probably get progress by getting to the final of the major championship, maybe the 100 meters, to again, maybe winning the African Games. But it's progression. You probably have to be in the top 20 of the world rankings in your event to be a medal prospect. But what the NCAA does for them is to build them and give them the capacity to compete consistently over the course of their career, potentially when they turn professionals. So I think we should not get ahead of ourselves here. They're on the right trajectory. Most likely at the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary, it will still be Toby Amuson as well as its improvement that will be the front runners for us and the likeliest of medalists for us. Maybe a favor of Philly, maybe a favor of Ashe, but in terms of the world rankings, these guys pale in comparison to other athletes that's in Africa and outside Africa. But in terms of sprint dominance on the continent, you probably look towards the African Games. Let's not forget that Raymond Ekebo is the defending champion in the 100 meter from the African Games in Rabat in 2019. He's also turned pro about 2-3 years now. He's trying to get his acts right. But let's not also forget that most of our athletes will also be able to represent Nigeria at the African Games. So most likely we'll most likely dominate in that regard. There's the South Africans, there's the Botswanans who also have got some amazing talent. The development they do over there in Southern Africa is amazing. They also have the Namibians also in the mix. These guys have got some really talented athletes. That's in the Slate Bogo, Zini van der Vaalt in the 400 meter hurdles. There's a Supana Sazini. I mean, there's a Samuel Wokonga from Zambia. So there's some pretty talented athletes in Africa. So, but the good thing is that we are on the right path. Whether it is through Nigeria or through the United States, most times we don't care now. Bottom line is that our athletes are being developed under the best of system and they should produce for Nigeria.
as a reporter also that we tend to, how does it really help those that don't have the facility to go train abroad? It means all the best of athletes are all going to school outside the country for them to gather the fame, for them to gather the momentum. Is that not putting a decline in Nigerian athletics, especially those based there? So the trend is that I have to travel to get a scholarship for me to have the best of facility. Is that not worrisome?
It is, yes and no. Yes, in the sense that it means that we would not focus more on the developmental aspect of things to grow athletics in Nigeria. But you also look at it as a reflection of the society itself. It's not just athletics, it's sport entirely. Football goes that way. Every single footballer wants to go abroad to play, wants to go to Europe to play. That's because our local league is not in the best of shape. We don't have the best of facility. We're a developing country. Now, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't put focus on trying to get somewhere else. But the alternative is also having to create a hub in which we can still excel through the Nigerian maze. Jamaica are doing it, and which is one of the things we've tried to replicate at Meeting of Champions, where we've got upcoming events coming through this year with the school champs, going to discover athletes all over the country in the southern and northern zone. But more importantly, it's obvious to understand that this thing is, we have to be careful with how we take the approach. So, in retrospect, we just have to deal with the reality on ground. The Americans have got the best of facilities. They've got the best of training systems. They've got the best of coaches. Let's just take our athletes there and see how we can build them. But we'll just have to make do with the little ones we have now until Nigeria potentially becomes a developed country and we can take sports seriously, take it as a business. This is just the best avenue for athletes.
Now, let's shift our focus to the All-African Games that Ghana will be hosting this year. It's obvious, I need to be corrected there, that the 100 meters and the 200 meters, we all know that it's been held by a Kenyan and the lady from Cote d'Ivoire. What can you say about that? It seems the short print is no longer a focus on our side. Deji, are you still there?
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. It seems,
okay.
Should I repeat myself? It seems we don't longer hold the ace when it comes to the short prints. We know it's a certain time we have the Ghanaians holding the ace when it's short prints, but now the focus has been shifted to Ivory Coast and the Kenyan who has been holding ace. Deji?
I don't think there's anything to be worried about. I think it's a one-off thing, especially for the Kenyans. Ferdinand Mayala just came through and is a special and unique talent. If you look at the physiology of the Kenyans, a lot of them are Kalenjins, and Kalenjins basically are tilted, or their body shape is built towards running the longer distance, which is why Kenya has dominated long distance for decades now. Omaya just comes from the smaller percentage of where they've got rugby players to, and he apparently became a fast sprinter. That doesn't mean they're not also able to develop their own little sprinters there, but I still feel it's a one-off. It's the same reason I will tell people that Nigerians have also got longer distance runners. If you go to Plateau State, if you go to Nasarawa State, if we're intentional about it and develop them, we can also find world beaters in middle and long distance. But we've not been able to consciously take athletics serious the way the Kenyans have done with Ferdinand. So over the years, we've seen the likes of Deborah Palm, the likes of Emmanuel Gian, but we've not potentially trained them to be world beaters in the longer distance. So it's nothing to worry about. Historically, the Southern Africans, because of the high altitude, Southern Africans, Nigeria, South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, Nigeria, they always dominate in the sprints. Jamaica, if you want to take it outside of the continent too. Let me give you statistics.
Okay.
In terms of the world rankings, over the 100 meters, after Jamaica, so after the Americans and the Jamaicans, Nigeria has the highest number of top 10 seconds runner over the 100 meters. We have 12 top 10 runners, even ahead of Great Britain, who potentially is a developing nation more than Nigeria. So I don't think there's anything to worry about. I mean, we've got the likes of Favour Ashe, Alaba Akitola, Udodi Owuzurike, there's Jerry Jabba, there's Raymond Ekebo, there's Divine Oduduro. All of these guys might not be up to the class of Ferdinand Omanyala, but it just takes a matter of time, especially with the likes of Favour Ashe, as well as the likes of Alaba Akitola, as well as Dodi Owusu-Rike, all popping up. These guys are just 20, 21, 22 years old. Omanyala is already in the peak of his career. He's 27 already. So I don't think it's nothing to fret about. It's just an happenstance. Same thing with the Ivorians. They've also got pretty decent talent. Same thing with the Ghanaians, there's a Benjamin Azamati, there's an Ismail Kone for Ivory Coast, who's also running for Florida State in the United States collegiate system too. So, but in the end, our numbers obviously makes us trump them over the course of the time. But I mean, overall, the South Africans have also got pretty good sprinters, no doubt about that.
Obviously, and I'm sure that this All African Games is going to be one interesting competition. Now, if these athletes were in scholarship, like we all know that your organization is doing so well for Nigerian athletes, taking them outside, we will still be the best when it comes to athletics in Nigeria, especially the short print. It has to be in the past. We don't have to get a scholarship for us to win in Africa. But right now, that's the case. But if it wasn't for this scholarship, do you think Nigeria will still be one of the top when it comes to short print?
The simple answer is no. And that's because for you to be ranked amongst the best in your event, you need consistent competition. You need consistent training. You need best of nutrition. And all of these things cost money. They cost so much effort. And we don't have that in Nigeria. That's the reality. Toby Amuso left Nigeria in 2015 to go to the University of Texas in El Paso. She was just 19, 20 thereabouts. And you could see our trajectory. It was very exponential in the last 6 years. And you could see how consistent our results were. Same thing with Blessing Okagbare. I can tell you a couple of other athletes that their career seems to have stagnated. So let me use an Enoch Adegoke, for example, the first Nigerian to get to the final of the men's 100 meters at the Tokyo Olympics in over 20 years. He trained at the University of Obafemi Awolowo University, graduated there. Now, that doesn't mean he didn't get it. He has one of the best coaches in Nigeria, but in terms of nutrition, in terms of support, in terms of sponsorship, he doesn't have that. And I always tell people this, that to train an Olympic athlete for the span of 4 years, you probably need to invest as much as $40,000 on that one athlete. We don't have that in Nigeria. So Enoch has been suffering with a niggling injury right from the finals of the Tokyo Games in 2021, and he stagnated with regards to his career. He's not been able to get the best of medical treatment, and that's because in terms of funding, the AFN doesn't have the sort of funding to provide for him. You probably take your mind back to one of the reasons why former African record holder in the 100 meters, Olusoji Fashiba, retired. Something like because of reasons like this. The fact that how do you say the word? They completely neglected the ball. Nigeria is designed not to provide for its athletes in every single step. And those were some of the frustrations that these athletes have faced, to the point that some of them even decided to change nationality. So the NCAA system is still the best for us, and I can guarantee you that if a local athlete decides to switch from Nigeria and get to the top level, what he would have to work to get, he would literally have to fly to get it if he was in Europe or he was in the Americas. So it's just the situation which we have in Nigeria now.
Okay, I want to say on Enoch Adegoke is a very fact that, yes, he was in the final, and like you said, the first Nigerian to get to the 100 meters final at the Olympics. He was in the final, but injury made him lose out. But our sport crew, they just concluded the National Sport Festival in Delta. We saw him coming with a bronze medal. We thought it was going to be the winner of that 100 meters at the National Sport Festival, from someone that got to the 100 meters final at the Olympics, and to someone that is getting a bronze medal in Asaba. What do you think happened between those short period of time, that 100 meters final at the Olympics to a bronze medalist in Asaba?
Okay, for the hardcore fans, it's not necessarily the medal, it's the time. If I'm pretty correct, I think around the 10.6. This is someone that ran in 9.98 seconds at the Olympics during the heats of the Olympics in 2021. So he obviously had injury from that Olympics, and it's been trying to get back. Even during the national trials in Benin in 2021, June of 2021, he struggled to even make the finals. The likes of Favor Ashe, likes of Alaba Akitola, Ojodion Ozurike blew him out of the waters. And that's because he's not been able to get back from that injury due to many factors. One major factor is the fact that he's not been able to get the best of medical facilities to help take care of his injury. So you wouldn't want to put him at the level of Usain Bolt, but if he was getting the best of sponsorship, for example, he would have been able to go abroad and get the best of medical facilities that would take care of his injury much more better than what he has been doing now. So between 2021 and 2023, Enoch has literally diminished. So this is another reason why most of these athletes opt to go the scholarship route in the United States. It offers them the chance to get the best of training facilities, not just even Division 1 schools, Division 2 schools, Division 3 schools. These guys know that their coaches have got programs for them. It's an enabling environment. If they get injured, they'll be well catered for. They're also well safe, and they combine their education as well as their training. Here in Nigeria, you can almost not find anybody combining his education as well as his training. I recall Enoch, I first met him in 2018 before the Commonwealth Games trials. In January 2018, he was still schooling at the Obafemi Awolowo University. He had to leave his studies to come run in Kaduna, then during one of the AFN meets, and you could see that he wasn't totally in it. And I'm pretty sure his academics would have struggled, even though he eventually graduated. But in all of this, it just speaks volume about how we've not been able to mix and match education and sports in Nigeria. And it's the athletes that are suffering. And the easy route for them is to go back to the United States or go to the United States and get the best of training there.
Okay. Lastly, because of our time, I'm sure if there's going to be a reporter watching us, I'm sure there's so much important messages that we have written down. Do you think Toby Amusan will see all the ace when it comes to the 100 meters, the world record holder in the 110 hurdles? Do you think this year Toby will continue? Because I know a lot of people don't know that there's a particular lady, Queen, hope I'm correct.
That's the Camacho Queen.
Camacho Queen, pushing so much against her. We just keep saying, Toby, but she has so much to fight for. Do you think she will hold the ace when it comes to 2023, when it comes to our particular, though she's the world record holder?
Okay, for Toby, it's twofold. She's gotten to the peak of her career. That's the reality. She's the world record holder. Very few people can say they've done that before. But I wouldn't say she's still the undisputed number one in the event, in the women's 100 meter hurdles. And I'm careful to use that word because I'm a Nigerian too. But if you look at the numbers against Camacho Queen, who has been a rival right from when they were in college, Toby ran for University of Texas El Paso, while Camacho Queen ran for University of Kentucky. And their head-to-head saw Camacho Queen get the better of Toby Amusan. Even all through last year, their head-to-head is almost, I think it's 6-5 in favor of Camacho Queen. Just that in crucial moments at the World Championships, at the Diamond League finals, Toby Amusan came clutch and defeated Camacho Queen, and that's why we're heralding her. She deserves all the plaudits, but it's going to get much more better, much more difficult to stay at the top and retain those titles. She needs to defend her title in Budapest this year. Camacho Queen would obviously be coming for that title. Camacho Queen have always felt that she deserved the world record. In terms of consistency, in terms of running 12.4 seconds consistently, running 12.3 seconds, she has more than Toby Amusan. Just like I said, Toby Amusan came clutch, but we still have to give as much support as we have to give to Toby Amusan. She is absolutely deserving of wherever she is now. She's putting so much work and effort after the disappointment of the World Championships in Doha in 2019 to the Olympic Games in Tokyo in 2021 when she finished fourth, then eventually getting the gold medal, become the first African to win the women's 100 meter hurdles, become the first Nigerian to win the World Championship gold medal in its history. I think she's well deserving of that. Okay. But you can almost guarantee that Camacho Queen will be going for her. And it's not just Camacho Queen. There's likes of Brittany Anderson from Jamaica. There are other Jasmine Stowers from the United States of America. There's the former world record holder Kendra Harrison, who Amusan took the record off to again. So all of them will be looking to enact revenge on Toby Amusan this year. So like I said, getting to the top is the easier part. staying there is the much more difficult part, and Toby will certainly realize that this year. But I wish her the best. I hope she maintains the momentum and still brings more glory to Nigeria.
Thank you very much, DG, for being part of today's show. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah. So it's good to say that Toby, watch your back in 2023. Thank you very much, DG. This is all we could take on today's program. I'm sure you've learned so much when it comes to athletics, the top Nigerian athletes to watch out for in 2023. And though it has been Toby Amusan in 2022, but she needs to watch her back to maintain the force, to maintain the top position. That's all on today's program. Thank you for watching. Same time tomorrow, we'll be giving you all what you need to know in the world of sports. Bye for now.